Hi, I'm Molly. Welcome to Oxford Online English. In this lesson, you can test your ability to use articles a, an and the.
Here's how this lesson works. There are 5 levels. Each level is more difficult than the previous one. Level 1 is beginner. Levels 2 to 4 are intermediate, and level 5 is high intermediate to advanced.
If you're not a beginner, start at level 2. At each level, you can see what you need to focus on if you have difficulties. Got it? Let's start with level 1.
Look at 5 sentences. Each sentence has a gap. You can put a, an, the, or nothing in the gap. Pause the video and find your answers now. Ready? Let's see the answers together.
Use a or an after there is when you're talking about one thing.
Use a or an to say what someone is. For example, to say someone's job. Remember that you can't use a or an with a plural noun. Use nothing.
Don't use a or the to talk about things in general. If you say, I like strawberries, you mean that you like all strawberries in general.
Use a or an to mean one of many. This is a common way to use a or an, so it's useful to remember this idea. Here, there are many possible questions you could ask, but you just want to ask one.
Use the when it's obvious which thing you mean. You often use the in this way to talk about things around you which you can see and touch. There are many windows in the world, but if someone asks you to close the window, you probably know which window they mean. Now, let's move on to level 2.
Here are your sentences for level 2. Here, we'll focus on when to use the or not. Some of these sentences are missing the, some are correct. Your job is to decide which sentences are incorrect and add the where needed. Pause the video and think about it.
Could you do it? Take more time if you want. Okay, let's see the answers. In number 1, fish is general. You aren't talking about some specific fish. However, you could say the smoked fish. Do you know when? You could say the smoked fish if you were talking about food from a menu. You often use this when ordering in a restaurant. For example, I'll have the salmon please. In this case, it's something specific. The smoked fish means the smoked fish which is on your menu and which you serve here.
Meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner, don't usually have an article. Use the before a superlative adjective like tallest, most or best. In many phrases, you just have to remember whether to use the or not. Why do you say on TV without the, but on the internet with the? There's no real logic to this. You just need to remember. Try to learn phrases like this as whole chunks, so you don't have to think about whether to use the or not when you're using them in speech.
If you're talking about people in general, then you don't use the. For example, most people in the UK live in houses, not apartments. But if you're talking about a specific group of people, then you need the. That's why you say, most of the people in my class. You're talking about a specific, limited group of people. When you're talking about transport, you need the. If you use the verb take the bus, take the train, take the subway, and so on. However, don't use the after by. Go by bus, get there by train, travel by subway, and so on.
Finally, you often need to use the with places in a city like shops, supermarkets, banks, and so on. Let's think about something. Look at two sentences. Both are possible, but what's the difference? Sentence number 1, with the, means that you know which post office you're going to and where it is. The second sentence, with a, means that there are many post offices and maybe you haven't decided which one you're going to stop at. When you talk about places in a city, you have a specific place in mind. That's why you often need the. Got it? In the next 2 sections, you'll see more details about when to use the and when not to.
One of the biggest challenges with using the accurately is different kinds of name. There are many rules to remember, and they aren't very consistent. Let's practice this now. Each sentence has 2 spaces. The question is, do you need the or not? Pause the video and think about it.
Ready? Let's check. Many building names, like cinemas, museums, theatres, and other famous buildings, have names with the. The Odeon is a well-known cinema chain. Street names don't use the.
There's a confusing rule with islands. If you're talking about a group of islands, you need the, but for an individual island, you don't use the. So you say the Philippines, but Luzon. You say the Seychelles, but Hawaii, without the. There's something similar with mountains and mountain ranges. If you're talking about a mountain range, like the Himalayas, you need the. But for a single mountain, like Mount Everest, you don't use the.
Use the with names of rivers, seas, and oceans. What about lakes? No the for lakes. This is the kind of time you might be feeling annoyed with the English language. Why are there all these rules? Why don't they make sense? First, don't worry about these things too much. It's good to speak and write accurately, but it's also not the end of the world if you make a mistake with the in these situations. Second, learning language in chunks can really help here. If you learn the sentence, Luzon is the second largest island in the Philippines, and you remember the sentence, you don't have to think about when to use the or not.
Here's a rule which is useful. If a name has a place as part of the name, it probably won't have the. Stansted is a place, so the name Stansted Airport doesn't have the. Like countries, names of counties, states, provinces and so on mostly don't have the. Essex is a county in the east of England. Then, if you learn in this way, you have many examples in your head of when to use the or not. This can build your instinct for what's correct, which makes it easier to decide when to use the or not in new sentences.
In number 5, you can see another example of a name with a place, Edinburgh University. It doesn't use the. But if a name has of in it, it generally will need the, even if it includes a place name. And sometimes there are two names for the same thing. You can say Edinburgh University or the University of Edinburgh. The first one is more common, but both are possible. Okay? Remember that you might need to review a section more than once to get it. Also, remember that these 5-level lessons are designed to help you find out what you know and what you don't know. If you find a section difficult, that can help you to understand where your weaknesses are and what you need to do to spend more time on.
Here, you're going to see a topic which is, in our experience, one of the most confusing for English learners relating to using the. Before you see your sentences for level 4, look at an example. Here, are we talking about one orangutan? No, here we mean all orangutans. We're talking about orangutans generally. So why use the singular noun with the? Why not use a plural noun and say orangutans are found in Malaysia and Indonesia?
Well, you can. Both sentences are possible. Using the here means that you're talking about a group or category. It can be confusing because usually you use the to talk about a specific thing, but here the has a general meaning. Let's practice this a little more. Look at your sentences for this level. So, what do you have to do? Focus on the highlighted phrases with the. Some of these phrases can be replaced with a plural noun without the, like in the example about orangutans you just saw. Your job is to find the sentences where this is possible and change the noun phrase. You might need to add some words. Pause the video, take your time, and think about it.
Ready? Confused? Let's do one together. Here's the answer for number 1 only. Done? Let's see the remaining answers.
In sentences 2 and 3, rich and Swiss are adjectives. You can use the plus an adjective to talk about a group or category in general. If you want to use a plural noun instead, you need to add the noun people.
In sentence 5, you can't use a plural noun. With musical instruments, you can only use the plus a singular noun to talk about the category in general. Again, if you're questioning your life choices in watching this video, don't worry about it. Many English learners find this difficult and need time to understand it in depth. On the other hand, these aren't strange sentences or rules that you only need sometimes. These rules and topics are relevant for speaking and writing in almost any situation, so they're worth spending time on if you want to communicate accurately and clearly. Okay, you're nearly done. One more level to go.
This is it. Level 5, the hardest questions we could make. Here are 5 sentences. 4 of these sentences have mistakes. 1 is correct. Can you find the correct sentence and correct the mistakes in the other 4? Pause the video and try it now.
Difficult? Here's a clue. You might need to forget about the rules you know. These sentences test your knowledge of exceptions and unusual cases which don't fit the general rules about using articles. Finished? Let's look together. Sentence 1 is correct. How do you explain this? Normally, you don't use articles with people's names. However, here you're talking about multiple people who have the same name and contrasting them. The Jamie I was telling you about is specific and needs the to show this. A Jamie in my class is one of many Jamies, but not the Jamie we're interested in right now.
In most cases, you say the future. In sentence 2, you're talking about one of many possible futures, so you use a. This is common when you use an adjective with future, a bright future, a difficult future, and so on.
Again, sentence 3 shows you an exception to a rule. You don't usually use articles with days of the week, but if you're talking about which day a specific date falls on, then you can use a. You also need an article with days of the week if you use certain adjectives, like following or previous.
Sentence 4 is a good example of how inconsistent the rules are here. You need the for the hotel name and for the floor number, but you don't use the with the room number. Don't try to look for the logic. There isn't any.
In sentence 5, it would be easy to think that the two noun phrases, first, second half of the year, should have the same article. However, in this case, there is some logic to why they're different.
In the first one, you say a terrible first half because although there's only one first half of the year, there are many ways it could have gone. It could have been good, or amazing, or average, or bad, and so on. In the second one, there's no adjective. Here you use regular rules. There's only one second half of the year, so you use the. The adjective makes all the difference. That's all. We hope you found the lesson interesting.
See you next time!